I wonder how many people remember that the first drop of 3GPP Release 15 standards was back in December 2017, nearly 4 years back. Today, there are over 200 or nearly 200 mobile network operators that have already deployed the 5G network. Even though we did call 5G access technology as New Radio or NR, we used EPC or the 4G core. These kind of networks are known as non-standalone or NSA. I believe the 5G deployed today is more of a technology evolution from 4G. The revolution part is about to start. The main component for this revolution will be the 5G core. The Global Mobile Suppliers Association or GSA have identified nearly 90 operators working on standalone 5G network. This number is expected to accelerate next year, with most new 5G networks being standalone rather than non-standalone. I'm delighted to talk here about my views today, but before we proceed, a bit about Parallel Wireless and myself. Parallel Wireless is one of the Open RAN leaders. We have been working on the open architecture since 2012 and have deployment with over 50 operators worldwide. Our unique selling point is that we are focusing on 2G and 3G along with 4G and 5G. Surprisingly, there is a lot of life left in 2G and 3G. Our website has loads of white papers and our YouTube channel is full of educational videos. So please do check them out. At Parallel Wireless, I look at what everyone in the industry is focusing on. This includes our partners, competitors, operators, and everyone else. In addition, most people know me for my blogs, trainings, and the 3G, 4G, 5G YouTube channel. You can search the 3G, 4G blog on Google, and that way you can find out more about all my channels from there. Coming back to 5G, the two main use cases since the first launch of 5G has been the enhanced mobile broadband or EMBB, mainly for the mobile devices like smartphones and tablets, and the fixed wireless access or FWA for homes and SOHO. SOHO is an abbreviation for small offices, home offices. With operators getting their hands on even more spectrum, there has definitely been an increase in the speeds in both these cases. You can say that while the current improvement in speeds is a natural evolution from 4G and the fixed line equivalents, wireless fiber for fixed and mobile is a revolution. For a wireless connection to be justifiably called fiber, along with high consistent data rates, low latency is a requirement as well. When we started the transition to 5G, we had a headline figure for reliability and latency. 3GPP has already exceeded the IMT 2020 requirements by improving the headline reliability figures from 5 nines to 6 nines. While the latency of 1 millisecond is possible, the specifications now offer even lower latencies from zero point 0.5 millisecond onwards. You have to remember though that these numbers are one-way air interface only numbers. In any case, with the use of edge and distributed architectures, the round-trip application layer latency of under 10 millisecond is possible as well. We have to bear in mind though that the actual URLLC and enhanced URLLC we require the 5G core. While the public 5G standalone mobile networks are rolling out slowly, URLLC has an important role to play in industrial and private networks as well. These networks will gain momentum within couple of years as new features are added and deployment issues are ironed out. The transition from 2G and 3G based IoT to 4G based LTE-M and NB-IoT started as part of 3GPP Release 13. Since then, both these technologies have been evolving with every release. The reduction in signaling and power consumption is a key driver for allowing a massive number of IoT devices on a network. Even though the adoption of cellular IoT is still in its infancy, we will see these gain momentum in the next 2-3 years as the technology matures, module prices come down, and operators start offering competitive price plans for IoT. Even as we get our hands on even more spectrum to do a lot more than what we have been able to do in the past, most of this new spectrum is in higher frequency bands. We will continue to go even higher with 5G Advanced and 6G. Small cells are not the only answer for everything indoors. 3GPP has been working with Wireless Broadband Alliance, Cable Labs, and others on this new feature called Wireless Wireline Convergence, or WWC. What this would mean in simple terms is that if you are unable to get your network's signal indoors, you can still use their services when connected on Wi-Fi and even on cable network. This is something that would be a true revolution once it's deployed by networks extensively and works out of the box without any fiddly changes. Each of the 3GPP 5G release contains loads of new features, bug fixes, enhancements, and a lot more. In this short presentation, I can't do justice by discussing them all. What I want to do is to highlight the features that are often overlooked and others that have the potential for revolution. 3GPP also creates a short summary for each release. You can see release 15 features on this slide. I won't be showing these for the other releases, but you get an idea. If you want a quick summary without going into any details, head to 3GPP for release descriptions. Right. So release 15 formed the basis of 5G. The basic architecture and many of the features were documented as a part of this release. Now, just so you know, 3GPP started looking at 5G from 2015 onwards. While the first release of 5G Release 15 was in December 2017, the final drop and ASN freeze happened in June 2019. You can say this was roughly 4 years of work. Release 16 enhanced certain important features like network slicing, and it introduced others like NTN and NPN. So let's look at them very briefly. Release 16 network slicing addresses two major limitations of Release 15 in the 5G core. The first is the support for network slice specific authentication and authorization, and the second, enhancement of interworking between EPC and 5G core when the UE moves from the 4G core to 5G core. Release 15 also introduced Network Data Analytics Function, NWDAF. NWDAF provides either statistics or prediction on the load communication and mobility performance in the area of interest. In Release 16, the set of use cases that are proposed for NWDAF has been widely expanded. This is shown as ENA, or Enhanced Network Analytics here. Future Railway Mobile Communication System, or FRMCS, was again specified as part of 3GPP Release 15. But there were some inconsistencies and ambiguities that were clarified as part of Release 16. A set of additional requirements to support the specific communication needs of railways were also added. MARCOM, or Maritime Communication Services over 3GPP system, introduces service requirements to enable maritime communication services. There are quite a few enhancements for mission critical communications, including enhancements of public warning system, enhancements to make use of group communication system enabler, interworking with land mobile radio or LMR, etc. NPN is non-public networks. A special case of NPN is standalone NPN, which people often call as private network. NTN, or non-terrestrial networks, look at integration of satellite access and HAPS in 5G. RedCap, or reduced capability NR devices is one of my favorites in release 17. It was called NR Lite before. RedCap devices are designed to be less complex than regular UEs by reducing the number of radio receiver antenna branches, reduced bandwidth, and half duplex mode of operation. This means that the RedCap device is not required to transmit and receive at the same time. Positioning has also been enhanced to support high positioning accuracy outdoors as well as indoors. This becomes necessary when industrial 5G networks are to be rolled out. IoT support over NTN includes support for LTE-M and NB-IoT, especially in LEO satellite cases. This becomes important when we need to deploy IoT devices in air or in ocean where you don't have terrestrial network coverage. Sidelink relaying could be useful in scenarios where a device is out of coverage area but is in close proximity with another device that needs coverage. V2X sidelink enhancements reduce latency, improve reliability, increase data rates, etc. The V2X services also need application layer support. There are enhancements in release 17 related to QoS, different modes of communications, group management, and communications, etc. Release 18 features are still under discussion and would be concluded in December. In the meantime, there is a long list of features. Some of them will definitely be included, while others are on the borderline at the moment. In case you may not be aware, 5G in release 18 is known as 5G Advanced or unofficially 5.5G. Looking at railway communications, there are enhancements for FRMCS. There is a feature looking at smart railway station scenarios and one looking at off-network railway communication use cases. 5TRS is a 5G timing resiliency services is looking at connecting 5G to fiber and terrestrial timing systems. This can in turn allow 5G to provide resilient timing services to financial sector, smart grid utilities, etc. Personal IoT networks look at wearable personal network and smart home automation network. Smart energy and infrastructure looks at 5G support of smart grid services, new energy services, renewable energies, etc. Factories of the future will include autonomous vehicles, robots, etc. The application layer support will look at how applications on different types of devices can interact with each other. One of the features that is being discussed extensively for a while is 5G multicast broadcast service. 5G MBS is designed to support many important use cases for public safety such as mission critical push to talk as well as enabling features like over the air software updates and live TV, video delivery and IoT solutions. Release 18 is looking at the enhancements of this feature. So in this short presentation, I have tried my best to explain the revolutionary new features of 5G that have been specified and will make it to the network in the near future. Some features like wireless wireline convergence are fundamental and will cause a huge change in the way we access the services. Some others will be applicable for specific scenarios and industries. In any case, I hope this gives you an idea and will help you get ready for the 5G revolution. Thank you for listening to my talk. I wish you a very good day. Take care and goodbye.